We've just grabbed a few minutes with Fathallah Sijilmassi with the Union for the Mediterranean. It's another group that looks at the Mediterranean as a whole. His work is very important, and so then I would just ask him to tell us about it.
Well, thank you. The Union for the Mediterranean is an intergovernmental organization, which is a member-driven organization of 43 countries, the 28 countries of the European Union as a whole, and 15 countries of the southern and eastern Mediterranean. We are co-chaired with the North and South representation. The Northern co-presidency is held by the European Union as an institution, and the Southern co-presidency is held by Jordan. And under the leadership of these two co-presidents, the Secretariat, based in Barcelona, is developing projects and initiatives in a certain number of areas, which are exactly the same areas in which CBC Med is working along with its processes and its mandate. So we are very happy to be here today to explore ways and means to work better together. We said many times during the conference that the key word is, the key words are synergies, complementarities, and coordination. I think that we are giving a first signal, a very concrete and positive signal of working together, where appropriate, of course, and where it's possible to develop a joint initiative. And I believe that we are going to be having in 2015 and beyond a very good, positive, result-oriented joint initiatives between CBC Med and the UFM.
Now, I did forget to mention that your title is Secretary General. You are the most important person in your organization in many ways, and your appearance here at this conference would, to me, signify that there has been a lot of cooperation already, and that you are at a high level of cooperation now, an advanced level. Would you say that's true?
I think we have to start thinking more on the impacts on the ground of the activities that different institutions are doing, rather than on the institutions that are doing it. If you see what I want to point out to, which is, yes, we are a lot of institutions are working on the Mediterranean, in the Mediterranean countries. I think all international financial institutions, the European Union has a very dynamic program within the framework of the European Neighbourhood Policy, the UFM. There are so many, of course, the governments themselves are working for the development of their own countries, and of course some sub-regional groupings as well. But the name of the game today is looking at it from the citizens' side and to say, be it North and South, really, how can we assess the tangibility of the results of all the initiatives that we are taking, beyond the activity reports of all the institutions that are all very nice. But I think it is a good moment to really look at it from the citizens' perspective. And I believe that this is where we still have a lot to do in terms of working all together, and try to have also a multi-stakeholder approach, not only institution to institution, but working with the private sector, with the NGOs, with the parliamentarians, with the local authorities, and to try to see how 1 + 1 can equal 3, 4, and 5, and so forth, as much as possible, with the sense of self-assessment of the work that we are conducting, and possibly also some fine-tuning. If there's something that we're not doing right, then we should just correct it instead of remaining in the wrong direction. But also showcasing the positive things that are achieved. I think that CBC Med is doing a wonderful job. I would like to praise the work of the authority that is handling this. I would like to praise the role of the region of Sardinia for being so dynamic in this respect. and we had a very clear perspective of all the excellent initiatives that are done. So we need to continue doing so. The UFM Secretariat is now developing around 30 labeled projects in a very large number of sectors of activities. We are still a very young organization, but still we are seeing that there is a scope of the possible in developing these projects and really making sure that they are implemented and that they are scaled up in their capacity to have the impact. So I feel very encouraged by the projects that are developed by the UFM Secretariat. I'm observing with great satisfaction what the CBC Med is doing and so many other initiatives. So there are achievements. There are success stories. The Mediterranean is not only about people dying in the sea. There are challenges. There are serious challenges. I think that the governments are fully dedicated to dealing with these challenges, the security, all the challenges. But there's also a huge opportunity, and we should also emphasize this opportunity. There are investment opportunities, there are development opportunities within the region and beyond, because the Mediterranean is not a border. Mediterranean countries are also there to increase interactions and partnerships with sub-Saharan Africa, increase the links and partnerships with the Gulf countries, and even beyond. So one has to look also at what is it that has been done, or what can be done that is addressed to enhancing opportunities and success stories and scaling up, and to talk about this. And that the headlines of the newspapers are not only made of bad news, but also things that are happening on the ground, because behind these things there are efforts, there are people, there's fantastic mobilization of the civil societies, of the young people, of women, of students, and I think we should encourage them, but also, of course, looking at in a very serious manner at the challenges and dealing with it in the appropriate framework. The UFM is one of the frameworks in which we can deal with some issues, and there are other frameworks in which we can deal with other issues. But the name of the game is to have this global vision, this global approach, to look at it from the angle also of the results that we can achieve all together.
So now you mentioned the many organizations involved in all these issues, and yet as you say, the target is local. Do you feel there's a way to coordinate the different efforts to strengthen the local impact, to improve the feedback from the interactive kind of communication with the local end, to make these stronger?
Well, I don't like general speeches, I like facts and figures. So let me give you the facts and figures. An example. We have developed within the framework of the UFM a strategy on urban development, sustainable urban development. That has been done with the support of the governments of the 43 countries within the framework of a ministerial that took place 2 years ago, and that entrusted the Secretariat to develop such a program. This program then has been based on a financing mechanism that has been funded by the European Commission, 5 million euros, to what has been called UPFI, Urban Project Financing Initiative, which is a consortia of 5 to 6 international financial institutions, EIB, EBRD, and others, working together under the coordination of the Secretariat of the UFM in order to promote 15 sustainable urban project development projects. Now, when we talk about urban, we talk about local. So here we have the international financial institutions, we have the UFM, we have the European Commission, we have the governments, the national governments that set the priorities within the countries, because we cannot choose which is the urban development project that is more priority than the other. It's the government that decides. And then we deal with the local authorities, both the local authorities as such, but the local ecosystem, the private sector, the NGOs, the universities, and so forth. So in this, in this program, Sustainable Urban Development, that we call UPFI, is truly the best illustration, or one of the illustrations, let's be more modest, of the coherence that we can have between the international financial institutions, the intergovernmental structure of the UFM, the national governments, and the local authorities and the local ecosystem. And it works. We have now developed 15 urban development projects, and it has proved to be successful enough to start preparing for phase 2 of this program. So earlier I was saying that there is a scope of the possible. This is a scope of the possible, and I think that this is one of the examples to showcase that creating the link between different levels of possible actors and interlocutors and stakeholders is something that, if managed correctly, can yield good and positive and tangible results.
Okay, well, we thank you very much for taking the time. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to reiterate my congratulations to the region of Sardinia, because not only is it a wonderful region, but also because I believe that it's a good example of how dedication, commitment, motivation, mobilization can actually prove to be very efficient on the ground, and we look very much forward to working with CBC Med and with the region of Sardinia.
Okay, and thank you for your contribution to the conference as well, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.